Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome to the Game Week 2 pod of the FPL Wire. I'm your host, Zoph, and I'm joined by my co host, Late Riser. Like everyone else on Twitter, LR, happy with your team?
Yeah, man, I'm pretty happy with the team actually. It's just there's been so many conclusions drawn so quickly in the FPL space. Some of them are right actually, some of them are not wrong, but I just think you have to wait it out because if what you're theorizing or theory building in your head in terms of how the meta might be or how things might be, there's a great chance you could just be wrong because we just have 1 week of data. So just a little more proof in the pudding to substantiate your thoughts might be worth its while.
Yep.
How
I
about you,
mean,
man? How are things?
things are good, man. I'm not really happy with my team. I have to say that 5 of the 7 of my attackers got combined, I think, less than 1 XG, guys. So while the hairdryer isn't out yet, the hairdryer is very much on charge, ready to blast, I think, after this game week. I like taking generally a hit in game week 3 if I need to. Do a bit of a mini wildcard, shuffle a few positions around. 3 transfers, I think, sort of can freshen up the team. But again, we have to caveat that we only have 1 weekend of sample size, right? Next weekend, we will have double the information we have now. So that essentially is going to be a big message we're going to send today is that as far as possible, do try to save a transfer. But there are some cases where it does make sense, right?
There are many cases in which it makes sense. I mean, I think that's largely a message, but like there are quite a few circumstances in which I think it's okay to spend a transfer if you're convinced about a few things. So fair enough. Speaking of hairdryers, don't you need to purchase one first?
Purchase what? A hairdryer?
Hairdryers?
No, I have one for my dog.
I just had to
Yeah, that's a
put
good
that
one.
one in there,
Throw
man.
that in.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
Do you know why Pras didn't come though? Did you see that tweet or what? It was so crazy. This Pras was just showing an 11FI chart. I reckon it was where ranks really matter post game week 18 or 19. So he just maybe jokingly said that I'm going to post my rank only in game week 19 because that's when it only matters.
yes.
Somebody co-tweeted him saying that it's you're saying it because you got 53 points and you're 5 million rank or whatever, and it's bad for business. I couldn't stop laughing.
Uh,
But it's also why Pras is not on the pod, right? Yeah, because he got 53 points. Let people believe that one.
I mean, yeah, but for everyone to know, Pras is actually in America. He's at Niagara Falls. You will be seeing his team selection video. He has sent us his bus team and his transfer plans. And his general mantra and message to give you guys is try to save a transfer when you can.
Yep.
Should we get?
Just so that we are clear, Niagara Falls.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to be clean today, but this is a very PG-13 stream. We're not doing anything like what we did on deadline that day. Cool. Should we get started?
Let's get into it, man. As always, all the data that you see on this podcast is from the Fantasy Football Scout members area. You're going to see a lot of fun tables actually, and it's immediately fun to dive into the DEFCON data. Zoph did a video for the patrons on Monday morning as well, where he looks into the data. It's just getting better and better, and newer sections are coming. And outside of the data, I also just think the members' articles are worth it in terms of what Neil and team give to us as well, which are exclusively just for members as well. So it's worth becoming a member. If you want 5% off, click on the link in the description below or scan this QR code and use the code FFS the wire 5 and you'll get 5% off on the membership as well.
And as you guys know, NordVPN has been a long-term partner of the FPL Wire. If you're bored of the streaming libraries in your country, with NordVPN, you can access content outside your region, get access to a wider library on your favorite streaming services, and if you're traveling outside your country, you can access your home library content. Every purchase of the 2-year NordVPN plan using the link nordvpn.com/FPL Wire will receive an additional 4 bonus months on top. Watch any decent TV lately?
Yeah, one, you'll be happy. Late onto the bandwagon, but I started Andor and I'm already 5 episodes in. Pretty bingeable as well. Enjoying the show. I've never seen
Fantastic.
any of the Star Wars except maybe for 1 or 2 movies, and you told me you don't need a background there. So got onto that one and I'm enjoying it.
Yep. I watched the new Mission Impossible movie yesterday, and I don't know if it's just me or it's just movies nowadays. So bad. I fell asleep within the first 1.5 hours. I missed the whole action scene at the end. Just couldn't sit through it. The plot is this thin, and they try to spend about 1.5 hours explaining it. You don't need to.
Yeah, I hear you. Are you not that great? Not that great. It was one of the weaker Mission Impossibles. I'll give you that.
I would say the weakest. My favorite is still part one, the scene where he suspends from the ceiling and he comes down, right? That's still my most iconic Mission Impossible scene.
Part 1 and Part 2 both were great in my opinion.
Part 2 was the Chimera virus, right? Yeah, that was also fun.
Yeah.
It had how the Limp Bizkit and Metallica music. I remember that.
Exactly. Well packaged.
Yeah. Getting back to Nod, it also has an efficient anti-malware and anti-spyware protection tool. It highlights any attack and deletes it before it makes a mess of your computer. Grab your exclusive NordVPN deal by going to nordvpn.com/FPL Wire. It's completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Sign up using the link in the description below. Right. Before we get started with the pod, I do want to give a thank you to you guys for helping us hit the subscriber mark. Like you see over there, the live subscriber count is down there. We've crossed 40,000. We are 40,200 now. So thanks a lot again for that. And if you guys do subscribe, you get all our latest videos on your feed, and we'll always try to answer the comments within the first few hours of the videos being published. So hit that subscribe button and the bell icon as well.
Cool. Pras just mentioned he's calling us in 5 minutes. Right.
So game week 1 is the biggest information reveal of the season, but with that obviously comes a lot of noise. From that noise, we have to find the information, and from that information, we need to mine knowledge. So where should we get started? Should we start looking at the fixtures, or should we just discuss the meta topics that the Discord has sent in? Let's do that.
You read my head there. I think that's the perfect place to start.
So I think that covers a lot of it in that sense. I'll just enlarge this so you guys can read it a little bit more.
Yeah. Let's get into this.
So we're going to fix this template, by the way, guys. You're going to be working over it over the next international break. There's a lot of wasted screen space. We'll be much more efficient in a couple of weeks. So bear with us till then.
Yeah. All right. So the first question, I'll go with the questions that I think are more important. We'll start with the question from FPL Clean first. Is the Haaland Salah no Palmer setup looking more possible now that we've likely got a lot of value in the likes of Reinders, Anderson, Kudus, or do you think that's too inflexible? What do you reckon?
I mean, let's talk about Man City, man. We were talking about them all of preseason, that there's something this year Pep is going to have fire in his belly. City are going to be fighting, and we saw it clearly. Let's bring up the pass map, which you had sent me a little bit earlier. They have set up very differently. I don't remember City allowing so much transitional play last season, and it's something Pep spoke about in his press conference as well after. He sort of encouraged his fullbacks, to allow the space to the counter. We saw Wolves having a lot of decent chances, but anytime Man City were on the counter, they were absolutely lethal. And really, that's how you unleash Haaland, right? Haaland can't thrive with 3 centre-backs all around him. Give him a little bit of space to run into with that physicality. He just cannot handle him. So I am definitely looking at Haaland once again. And I think Salah and Haaland is much more doable than I thought. Obviously, Palmer has to be the make-weight there. What do you think?
I think there's a couple of moving parts to this situation. Haaland is great, firstly. We said that we had him on for 30 or more goals this season, right? But I just think the way Wolves set up played into his hand and played into Pep's hand in terms of allowing them to transition so much. I mean, I always thought that Haaland was a little bit underutilized because some of his best Borussia Dortmund goals were using his pace and speed in transition as well. He's a really fast, good technical striker for the big guy that he is, and Pep is underutilizing this. And there's a lot of impact of Pep Linders that nobody's really speaking about, which is more, to make it easier for everybody to understand, which is more Klopp school of football. So Pep with a little more power charge nitro boost is how you expect City to play, but it's more opposition specific, it's more setup specific. And Pep did mention, that actually this was a very interesting thread from Luke Disable. He said that because Wolves like to crowd the center, Pep also crowded the center, which is why Ait Nouri played as the inverting wing back, and Ait Nouri plays the third center back, and Rico Lewis played as the inverting wing back, which is different from him generally using 2 very wide wingers, which wasn't the case. So this is again a very match-to-match specific scenario. Like the likes of Marmoush, Cherki, and Foden are going to sit on the bench throughout the year, right? So there's a lot of learning still to be done, but in whichever case, Haaland is just a great pick. But people that are jumping the gun early in terms of whether they want to wildcard, people are very quickly to write Cole Palmer off this season, etc. Remember, people were quickly writing off Mo Salah when they played against Crystal Palace. Now, Crystal Palace have played 8 to 10 big teams in a row, and they're just one of the best defenses in the league. Like, you don't extrapolate a performance that you see against Crystal Palace as a performance that you're going to see against most other teams. And one other thing, just about the Haaland Salah thing that I wanted to bring to mind. To bring a Haaland Salah system or team into play, or to make it work, you need to hit a lot of your 6 to 7.5, 8 million picks correctly. Now, I feel like to hit those 6 to 7.5, 8 million picks correctly, you need more than 3 weeks of data, 4 weeks of data to substantiate and get those spot on. That is the one learning that is left to learn. And the second learning is what happens to Salah once Isak comes, in terms of how does goal share happen there as well. If Isak comes, let's not say when Isak comes, if Isak comes, right? So there's just so much learning to be done. So this is a couple of the reasons where if you are buying into the meta that this is a Salah Haaland season, you need to get a lot of the other 13 pieces right. And it's just not enough learning to make those bets with high conviction at this stage, which is why I suggest some patience would be helped, because yes, Salah and Haaland are no-brainers. But what about the team that works with Salah and Haaland? We need to learn a little more, get more information, and then decide on the other framework around it.
I agree with you and with my sensible hat on, but I have to say there's something about Haaland's second goal in particular tells me that he is absolutely on it this season. That he is going to score at the next 4 games. I'm expecting around 8 to 9 goals.
8 to 9. I do think there's a matchup thing that also that plays into the hand here. He's got Spurs next. I'm expecting Thomas Frank to park. Just the PSG setup that's going to happen. So you're okay getting away without captaining him against Spurs, I reckon. If you have him, you captain him. But it's just like, it's not far away from Salah or Palmer to think that he's convincingly the best captaincy option. Gameweek 3, I love the matchup as well. But Brighton did improve defensively this season. They showed that they can defend a bit, etc. as well, right? But I think I love that Brighton matchup for Haaland a lot. After that, he's got United and Arsenal, who look to be like better defenses.
I mean,
so is there
Arsenal,
a case of...
yes, but United game, again, you could say that Salah that week has Burnley. So you're probably going to go Salah that week anyway. And the week after that, Salah has Everton. So again, I'm not talking about at the expense of Salah at all. We're only talking about alongside. And against, like you mentioned, captaincy is a big factor. But that being said, you're not going to captain Palmer. What it comes down to is the combinations. Now, let's say somebody like a Haaland and an Anderson.
That being said, you are not going to captain Palmer. Don't speak for both of us.
No, definitely. I don't think I'll be captaining Palmer anytime soon. I think just given what I'm seeing of Chelsea right now, and the whole Colwill absence is a concern. I think we saw it at the weekend as well, that not having that centre back in the middle, we can't really split the lines as effectively. But I want Haaland, man. I'm not going to mince words. I think Haaland, I want to get in my team. And again, I'm already looking at a path. Now, the path I'm looking at is something like a Watkins to a Haaland and a Palmer to an Anderson. Now, obviously, look at the combination isolation. It looks like obviously the other one has more routes to points, the Watkins and the Palmer one, but Haaland just looks on it, man. And City, just like you mentioned, the Pep Linders effect. You saw him giving Guardiola a hug also after the third goal. He came back to him like completely your role and all that stuff. So I think we need to do the sharpest, and shout out to Raik on our Discord. He's had a fantastic start. He's just like, I've seen enough. This year's Haaland is going to get 35, 40 goals. Salah's distribution goal share is going to be spread around. He took the hit. He swapped out Gakpo for Palmer and he got in Haaland in for Watkins.
Nice. Kudos for people that go early. I just think, and actually, there's not much wrong you can do with getting Anderson and Haaland, right? Haaland is a good pick, and Anderson, we've seen, man, he looked like sensationally good. Did you see the passing? It's just not the DEFCON. He looked really good, really
I have
sharp
to put
in
that
attack.
Shaq meme on my head, like, apologies, Mr. Anderson, I was not familiar with your game. Like, I've shot Elliot Anderson so much in preseason. He was fantastic that game.
Yeah. A lot of people were worrying earlier. I mentioned in the Discord as well. People were worrying about Anderson's minutes because of Douglas Lewis and all that. I'm like, guys, this was probably Forest's best player last season outside of Morgan Gibbs White as well. He's that good, and he's only improving. Like at an age where the upward trajectory is really, really high. He took a few shots, created a few chances. Will trickle along with DEFCON as well. Yeah, man, you can't go much wrong there. I do want to say though, that there is a chance you could be putting yourself in a corner with 2 mids in the 5.5 million bracket, because outside of those 2 mids, it didn't look like there is no out. Very convincing. Like Rutter, 65 minutes, looks like he could get subbed early. Stack, looked decent, got an assist. But the outside of those two, if they have 2 or 3 blanks in a row where the 8 million, 9 million mids start performing, you're starting to question yourself again. Like what I actually learned in terms of the meta is below Bowen, 7.5 million in strikers and below, there's just a lot of reliable picks there. I'm talking about Evan Nielsen, Mateta, Strand Larsen, Thiago. There's a lot of good below 8 million strikers there that are just good, steady picks that you don't need to worry about for too much. So I just worry about that little thing. That's all.
So the transfer I've got in mind, maybe something I'm looking at game week 3, and I think this is something I think what you can do with a hit, right? Is taking somebody like a Joao Pedro to a Larsen. That gives me $1 million. And instead of the Anderson in that spot, I can get a Kudus, which I mentioned.
Much better. Much better.
That's what 3 transfers enables, right? Gives you the more flexibility.
exactly.
But now I'm thinking I want Eze. We just got news before coming on that the terms have been agreed, more or less now. So that transfer is going to happen soon as well. So I'm keeping an open mind. I'm just watching this weekend to see how Villa do, how Chelsea do, and if necessary, I'll make the move in game week 3. So I think it is. The question is it's looking more and more possible. Yes, definitely, because we know who the enablers are.
Agreed. And there's a lot of nice picks. We know who the enablers are for 1 week. I just think we need to calm down in terms of context. Wolves played into City's hands. Context. Is Anderson going to get so many chances in a game? Is he going to play a weaker defense than he did against Brentford? Not for a while, maybe. Because Brentford were the weakest they will be. The next game, Brentford are going to upgrade massively. They're going to have Henderson, probably Utara, Damsgaard, and Shada in. That's just such a big upgrade on Lewis Potter. I don't know who they played at number 10, Carvalho. That's just a big upgrade in midfield and attack, right? So Brentford will look like a different team as well.
Absolutely. Move on to the next one.
Yeah, sure. All right. We'll go bottom to top. This is the question from Ong03. I understand we shouldn't knee-jerk after just one game week, but how long do you wait on possibly golden picks like Baby Rinder before you get him in? How do you strike the balance between sticking to the plan and adapting? Stick with Anderson, Rooter, or get on the TJ train now? Is KDH a mistake?
That's from Rory, and the other one's from Infamous Drago. So I stuck them on together because it's more or less a similar topic, right?
Yeah. Go on, what are your thoughts?
I think players like Reinders, I think now, see, if you haven't moved for him, you're probably going to pay 6 million. So I think you give it one more week to judge. And the problem is if you have somebody like a KDH, you need to find that 0.5 more. So that's going to require another transfer. Give it one more week, I would say. But that being said, if I'm on Rutter, for example, I'll stick with Anderson. If I'm on Rutter, I'd be tempted to move man to Reinders.
Yeah, same answer. With Reinders also, right? Actually, will be very interesting because Spurs is exactly the kind of matchup you want to see because Wolves afforded them space. Spurs is going to be a low block. Spurs is going to park. You want to see what Pep does and what City do and what Reinders does in that sort of a matchup. So if you want to wait, fair enough. But we've seen enough, right? We're not going to sit on the fence. We know he's a box crasher. We know he's a goal scorer. He might have had, a lot of people are quoting that he had 0.22 XGI. That's fine. But what people don't notice is every time the ball was on either flank, Reinders was placed inside the box. His role is to be placed inside the box for that goal. He's Gundogan. And what was the cheapest we've had Gundogan at? 7.5, 8 million? We used to pay that much very happily for a City midfielder. He's 5.5. It's a very different world and if something like this goes wrong. You know why waiting also works is even if you're 6 million Rooter, you're not going to be priced out of the move in a week's time. If he's going to continue in the same role, even 6 million is cheap for Reinders. So don't feel like, oh, you missed out on the boat. Even 6 million is just cheap for what you're going to get out if he continues on the same trajectory. I'm with you though. I wouldn't move Anderson. I think Anderson is a really good pick. I would consider moving Rooter because 65 minutes is a flag. KDH also, I think I'd consider moving.
If you have the money, but you're going to need to fund that. If you have to do a hit for that, I think then I just wait, give it another week, do 2 transfers.
And then decide. Yeah, because Spurs will park. You're right.
Next one from Maka. How do you judge quality of player, team versus fixtures? Many have Porro and Estef. Porro is clearly the better player in the better team with better attacking threat, but fixtures Man City. But Estef has Sunderland. Is it as simple as bench Porro, play Estef? How do you make that decision? What do you reckon? I guess you have to follow a process, right? For me, generally what I like to do is clean sheet odds. If you're going to live and die by clean sheet odds, you have to do it for 38 game weeks, or you have to decide that I'm just going to perma play my guys with attacking threat. I think you decide one philosophy and stick to it, because if you do either or, you end up missing the points from either one.
Yeah. And then there's a little bit of context to that also, right? Now, this season, attacking threat is sort of nerfed down a little because for centre backs, you have the potential of getting 2 points extra because of DEFCON as well, right? So that's how you judge. That's all.
But you have to mention that Porto also has significant more attacking threat, because they're going to be playing the back three now. Porto is
They're
going to
going to
be
be
pushed
playing the back
much,
three. It's going to be
much
the PSG
further up the
setup, yeah.
pitch. No, wing back, I think. But for example, like I wouldn't bet double my house. Like let's say if you're playing a Dubravka, then maybe I would bench Steve and play Porto. I do think I think Sunderland are going to score. I'm not very optimistic on the clean sheet potential over there, despite the odds.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well. But you know what? Just because I'm very confident of City scoring, because they just look in a good space and they look like they're taking, I would take a shot with Esteve. Just because there's potential to get 2 CBIT points as well.
CBIT points bonus, like we saw Tarkowski yesterday, if they would have kept the clean sheet, he would have gotten 11 points. 3 bonus and the 2 DEFCON. It could be the same for Electric Steve.
Exactly.
Next one from Mick Kaleja. A lot of players panicking after blanks and going for early hit. So perhaps a view on how long you should hold firm to your original decisions, and what extent of new info would it take you to get deviate significantly?
I think there's so many moving parts at the moment, yeah. Especially one thing is something we already spoke about with Haaland and Salah, is that if you're going with such a meta, which is what people are leaning towards, you need to get a lot of the other middling price picks a lot. And you need to be sure that the likes of Palmer and Saka are going to be duds. Now, and Watkins. Thankfully, we just have the right kind of fixtures this week to judge that, because all three of them are playing fairly obliging opposition. Aston Villa's playing Brentford, Palmer's playing West Ham, and Arsenal are playing Leeds, who looked very good actually. I don't think it's as bit of a batter-ram fixture that people are perceiving it to be, because Leeds were really, really good. But you take that week to judge that out, and I generally think taking 3-4 weeks is fine. I definitely just think because of the amount of dominoes that are still expected to fall in the transfer market, which might, like, you might have a 6.5, 7.5 million nailed on starting striker at Newcastle United before they play Leeds. Like, that just goes, that climbs the level of priority if you're looking at all 7.5 to 6.5 million strikers, for example. We just have so much information to absorb still, because there's so many big moves left in the transfer market. I just think waiting till game week 3 or 4 before making your moves is the wise thing to do.
That's a good shot, because again, there's so many transfer rumors around. There's Strand Larsen to Newcastle rumors. There's Watkins going out. There's Nicholas Jackson potentially to Newcastle. You just don't know.
Exactly. Wait for the dominoes to fall. And then it's just not that, right? Let's say this transfer happens. Then how are the teams adapting to those new transfers as well? There's just a lot of value. So that's why I would maybe say, if you want to do something like a double move to get Haaland next week or this week even for a hit, fair enough. But don't spunk the wild card, because there's just too much information still to get.
Absolutely. You have to be a mix of being agile, also sticking to your beliefs. So I do like the idea of making transfers in Game Week 3, but definitely don't pull the wild card till after the international break.
Yeah.
Unless
you're absolutely like made a lot of mistakes, right? That sort of thing can make you push the wild card. But then if you're doing that, you need to be a little safe with your team selection, I reckon.
Even then, I think I would just say take maybe a -4 or a -8 if you need to. There's just too much information this year with the window, the way it is in particular. I think you should wait.
Yep. All right, just wanted to take a moment. There's about 800 people watching us. In general, we're getting better with our views to like ratio. So we're targeting about 2,000 likes on this stream by the end of game week 2. So if you could get us, that'd be really, really nice. And we want to hit maybe 45,000 subscribers before international break. Let's just be optimistic and positive. We've been on a good trajectory. If you could get us there, it'd be really, really nice as well. So just hit like and subscribe. We'd appreciate it.
You want to read the last one from Talwai?
Yeah, so 23 players awarded DEFCON points so far this week, but you would say only 1 in 5 of them were among template picks for DEFCON monsters. Initial thought is DEFCON is highly dependent on game state and the bias of the opposition. Example, Mitchell scoring DEFCON because of Chelsea's right-sided bias. The dilemma, are we obsessing too much over something that where the ceiling is capped at 2 points?
I think so.
My thoughts, sir.
I think so. Go ahead.
Go on, I cut you, sorry.
No, in general, I was just thinking, I mean, this is something we discussed also. Like, we are still looking too much into this DEFCON aspect, and I still like the idea of more attacking defenders. And again, I watched the Leeds game yesterday. It would have been much more fun to own Goodmanson than Rodon. It's just the fact what it is. If you're going to watch football, you're going to enjoy the games. And I think going for the attacking players, going for the attacking defenders still has its upside, but you could spin that around. Now, same fixture, now let's say Rodon was away to a West Ham. I think he would be the one who'd be racking up the DEFCONs more so than Goodmanson. In fact, Goodmanson was higher even on the DEFCON yesterday. To a certain extent, I think it should be a factor we weigh in the same way like we view that, okay, this guy is good for bonus and this guy is good for DEFCON. But simply picking a guy just because he's good for DEFCON, I think is something we have done a bit too much over preseason. Maybe turn that down a little bit.
I just think that's all we had to go on, right? We had last season's data to go on at the start of this season. So it's fine if you went there. Not like many people are spending transfers on defenders or shouldn't be spending transfers on defenders at the start of the season. That's not where you want to spend your transfers this early in the season. I think by the time you wildcard Gameweek 5-6, one of the advantages again of wildcarding a little late is I think after 6 weeks we will find certain trends and certain centre backs. There will be maybe 4 or 5 centre backs in the league that are genuine DEFCON monsters, and the rest of it will, like you say, be game state dependent, tactical opposition dependent, how certain teams set up against certain different type of opposition. All that will come into play. But I think there will be a case where we will find a few of them that are genuine DEFCON monsters. We just have to wait till we find out. Again, that's just substantiates. Hold on to the wildcard till maybe 5-6 weeks because there's just so much information to still learn. Like you think you cracked it because Salah and Haaland is the meta, but what about the other 13 picks? Because if everybody is going to come to Salah and Haaland 5 weeks later, you need to make sure your other 13 picks are you have to make sure you have the best in class 4.5 million defender. You have to make sure you have the best in class 4.2 million defender. You have to make sure you have the best in class 8 million midfielder if there's a pick, 7 million striker. Like all of these picks we don't have information about at the moment.
Absolutely. Let's give a shout out to some of the top teams in our Discord. The top scoring manager was Gittins Mitten, managed by Richard Lam. 104 points with this bench boost. Well done, Richard. The other two teams are, I'm just going to ask this, Naipan Adi Kunyans by Srihari and Mashiga Nuts Omri Yaron. 90 and 86. Well done, guys.
Yeah. And cheers to the Discord for asking really good questions, which like kicks off the meta conversation on the Game Week 1 pod or other Game Week 2 pod of the Wire. I thought they were genuinely good questions. Keep the good questions coming. And if you want to become a member of the Discord, just click on the link in the description below. It's buzzing. I think the quality of the Discord has also improved massively. I'm enjoying spending time there. Come hang with us there.
I think your video seems to have hung a little bit. We're okay now?
Yeah.
We're okay.
Yeah, much better now. Yeah, cool.
Let's start looking at some of the results.
Yes, let's do that. Game by game.
Liverpool 4-2 Bournemouth. I think this was a game of the weekend. And let's talk about Josh's quote over here, which is, I think, worth sharing over here with our listeners, where he talks about how open Liverpool were. And Carragher also asked this one about it. Slot. Yeah. So this is from Josh's Substack. Liverpool faced 10 shots worth a total of 1.7 xG against Bournemouth. That's too much. In fact, across the whole of last season, the Reds gave away more on just 5 occasions in the Premier League, with 4 of them coming after they officially claimed the title. So they conceded 2 counter-attacking goals on Friday night. Last term, they conceded 1 across all of 38 matches. He said that's nuts, but it was kind of predictable going into the bout. What were your thoughts on Liverpool's midfield?
My thoughts were he knew that he didn't have a Gravenberch fit, and he knew that he had to play sort of this high transition, both sides sort of all action game. And he thought he had enough quality in his attack to sort of win that contest, which is what we saw eventually come through. But from what we know, Slot from last season, he'll fix this. There will be a lot more balance in that Liverpool team. And like we mentioned,
how do you think he'll fix it? Now, Gravenberch will naturally come back. McAllister will come in. Are you a bit worried about Wirtz starting?
I'm not worried about Wirtz starting. I'm a bit worried about Wirtz's minutes because two out of Wirtz, Soboslai, and Gakpo will be playing 10 CF and left forward. So so sorry, two out of them three will be playing 10 and left forward. So which to play? It's a little sketch in on minutes, but it's too early. I mean, I thought Wirtz was still. Yes, he got bullied into the game, and it's his first Premier League game, and you see that when somebody's playing a Premier League game for the first time, and it's not going to get any easier with Newcastle.
Newcastle's midfield,
And
right? That whole Tonali, Gimenez, Joelinton midfield is good. We saw them absolutely smother Villa.
yeah. But I'm not as keen as everybody else to jump the gun and writing off Wirtz, man. He still got into some really good positions. He still took corners from both sides, which is something we wondered that he wouldn't. He's still involved. And listen, guys, like this team has five starters that are new. It's Slot's new team. It will take a little time to build the chemistry and iron out some of the deficiencies so far in the play, but they're all just very high quality players and they will still create a high volume of chances and they will still score a lot of goals. So just wait. I don't think this game will be as low scoring as the other Newcastle game was. I expect Liverpool, Newcastle both to go. I still expect high transitions on both sides. In fact, I think it's a good game for the likes of Gordon as well. So just hold your horses, be patient. That's all.
I think a good word you used there was transition because even against Villa, what I noticed, they were actually playing a quite high line. If you could get the ball over the top, which Villa managed to do a couple of times, the problem with Villa was the outball was constantly either misplaced, overhit, underhit. They just couldn't bypass that midfield. So I think once you can, and Liverpool have the weapons to do so, this could be a very end-to-end game. But like I'm not writing off words, but I am just a little bit worried about his starting. He could really just take him out of the firing line this game just to bring him back the next. But like we mentioned, he's too good a player, and he was pretty critical of Sobo also, I think, in that post-match interview.
I mean, I didn't think Wirtz's performance required him to be in the firing line. I thought he was decent. I thought he did well.
But just because of the intensity of the game is what I'm worried about a little bit. And again, this could just be me being paranoid. It's not something that is based on any fact or reason.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to throw his 120 million player in an important game, which is almost like a must-win game against Newcastle, I reckon. I don't think maybe Soboslai offers his level of creativity, but Wirtz is an upgrade on creativity for sure.
Absolutely,
in my opinion.
Is that the engine they might want?
I think
Wirtz also does provide.
Yeah, he got high DEFCON points. Did you see that? He got like some 9 or 10 as well there as well. So I'm not too worried. I understand why people are sketchy, but the thing is, by the time you start questioning the Wirtz pick, he's got Burnley in 5 and Everton in Burnley in 4 and Everton in 5. Are you going to not wait for that?
Agree.
Yeah.
Anything else?
All right. Other talking points. There's a lot to actually unpack from this. Frimpong and Kirkes. Immediately, I just don't think they're picks, just because of what we saw, and this is without Bradley being even fit. So once Bradley comes, there's going to be a lot of this 59, 60, 30 business he did last year. And Virgil hit 20 DEFCONs. The picks are the centre backs with the
20 DEFCON, and I think that again is a little bit matchup specific because Bournemouth are just so intense. You won't be doing that against, I think, a Sunderland, for example.
If somebody went early on Frimpong, do you sell him immediately?
No. I don't think he'll be doing that early sub this game. It was something different the next one. I think you hold out.
I would sell.
Or Nouri?
Wherever you want to go. There's a lot of defenders in the game. I think you're going to bleed points because it's Newcastle and Arsenal next. And by the time you're onto game week 4, Bradley's fit. I think rip the band-aid off right now. Admit the mistake and get a better, more nailed-on, secure minutes defender.
I could see the point. I think maybe you go down potentially if you need money.
Yeah, go get a Munoz if you want. Get Ait Nouri if you want. Get Porro if you want. But there's enough picks. Get Gabriel if you want. Good starting point. Arsenal or Jose Mourinho max.
Shout, yeah. Move on to an Arsenal defender now.
Yeah. Just I think there are way better ways to spend money than spending 6 million on Frimpong or Kirkes.
What about Bournemouth? Semenyo is quite popular.
Wait. I think Liverpool still a lot to unpack. Gakpo, good pick. Stick. Buy. Not sure because you got Newcastle and Arsenal next. Same with Ekitike owners. well done going for the first 3 games, but I don't think you buy him now because the Isak transfer is going to happen. If it happens pretty soon, you just have to wait till how the cards fall after the transfer window when it comes to Ekitike. Ekitike was a game week 1 buy or a no buy, in my opinion. I don't think you buy him now. And owners enjoy the points because not many people are going to go there now, I reckon, because of the risk associated with the transfer. Any worries about Salah?
No. I think again, bit matchup specific. I think he'll do well in the next one. He's my captain against Newcastle.
A lot of people were saying while I was in the Discord while watching the game, I was like, oh, Salah's wide. I was like, no, this is nothing has changed in terms of how Salah played that game. This is what Mo Salah does. If you get a goal or assist from Mo Salah in the first 60 minutes, you're on for a double return in the 90 minutes. Because minute 70 to minute 95 is Salah time. It genuinely is Salah time. You could see also he's itching for a return. So I think he's perfectly fine as a pick. I think what might change things there is what happens when if and when Isak comes. Then we wonder about
Thank you
Porsche.
for the if. You would get absolutely barraged otherwise. But
Hey,
again,
Alan Shearer is not watching this pod, so we're okay.
But all of Newcastle Twitter, we do not need the hordes descending on us. But there's been games against Bournemouth where they've scored 9 and Salah hasn't even got an assist. We never spoke about Salah's role then.
Exactly. Semenyo, Evan Nielsen, good picks, no problems. But I also just want to say that this sort of game where Liverpool come and play suits Semenyo a little more than when opposition parks the bus against him.
That's a better Evan Nielsen game. Semenyo is your transitional guy.
Yeah, exactly. And defense looked decent, yeah? That Diamante guy at 4.5 million could be a pick. Or Truffo was good with the passing.
Very impressive. And this, you can trust their recruitment. They'll buy another centre back, and whoever they buy will be top class.
And they've got some decent fixtures upcoming as well. Wolves, Spurs, Brighton, Newcastle. Actually, you can wait for Spurs and Brighton to get done, then buy and Newcastle. You can wait for that, then get a defender if you want. Just want to keep an eye on.
Good run over here. But again, I think Evan Nielsen will stick around. There's no transfer rumors about Evan Nielsen being linked anywhere. I think if you need a forward this week, probably give Joao Pedro at least this week. If this week, again, if it looks a little bit dodgy, I don't mind making the move even against Tottenham next week.
All right. Cheers. Next game.
Villa, Newcastle. Oh, man. It was painful as somebody who owned Rodgers and Watkins. Man, the first half was just awful. It was just so frustrating. They couldn't make a pass. Right. It was just, they just looked so rusty. And I think the setup he chose with playing Tielemans as a 10 and using this guy, Onana and Kamara in midfield, just give them no sort of ball progression whatsoever.
Yeah, both were poor. I thought especially in the first half, both were really, really poor as well. Newcastle did really well, but it was all... Both teams lacked end product. It was sort of a game where, yes, Newcastle dominated and they were spectacular in midfield. They're just the worst midfield to play against. By far, the worst midfield to play against. Just sort of a nothing game. Gordon looks really good. Looks really sharp. Elanga looks really good, really sharp. And now I'm happily on my watch list because game week 3 onwards, the fixtures are good. You got Leeds, Wolves and Bournemouth. They're very transition player fixtures. You like Gordon in there or you like Elanga in there as well. So both are on my watch list at the moment.
Yeah, Gordon obviously won't be playing centre forward for very long though. I don't mind him on the wing. I actually prefer him on the wing.
I prefer him on the wing as well. So just add them to the watch list. And wanted to cite the stat about Ollie Watkins. In the last 4 games against Brentford, he scored at the very least a goal in each game. And he's had 2 or 3 games where he's had double or triple returns as well. He's had 6 games against Brentford and he scored 7 goals and 1 or 2 assists. He's just got a really good record against those boys. So, if there's more, and I believe in this sort of thing. I think certain players are good against certain type of opposition as well. So just hold your horses with Rodgers as well as Watkins. Rodgers, I will say, looked a little rusty. That might have to do with something that he joined training late after that little niggle injury, which is why he wasn't as sharp. And I think I just rate the manager too much to work it out.
Absolutely right. And a reminder that Konsa is only suspended for 1 game. It's not 3. Few people asked us that. So he should be back in game week 3 when they play Palace.
Yep.
Anything else here?
Nope.
Brighton, Fulham. As a router owner, did you watch much of this? I just saw the stats. It just seemed like a very, very dull. And these 2 teams are the typical 1-1 teams, right? I think they would have had more 1-1s than any team last season.
I saw the game. I thought Rutter looked good. He's out of position, but I'm a little worried about his minutes. Like, will I be surprised to see Welbeck, striker, and Ayar, who was it? I forgot his name, man. Who took the pen and who took the pen?
O'Reilly?
O'Reilly, yeah, O'Reilly 10. Like that worries me about that. But I'm holding horses, see what Hursler has in his mind. But that minutes is a red flag, so I'm looking around in that area. That's why I've got one eye on Gordon as well next week. I'm giving Rooter this week, but those minutes are a little red flag. That said, he played well. He was pretty good. It's just the minutes. If it continues at 65, 70 consistently, then you're worried. And it's confirmed that he doesn't have pens.
Know that for sure now. And again, Fulham, they created very little. I think we are looking primarily at them from a defensive assets next week. Whether you should play Anderson or not, we'll come to that when we talk about Manchester United. But rumors are picking up on Muniz potentially leaving now, so they're going to be in the market. And I think they're a bit short-staffed right now. They're one of the teams that definitely do need to strengthen.
Yeah. Just a couple of other observations. I think Brighton have 3 or 4 goals in them in any game. It's just that Fulham are the Joe Pesci of the league, right? They don't get run over very often in the league. And secondly, Brighton's defensive prospects improved in my head a little. I always have them as this very open defensive team, but they played decently. I don't know whether that was because Fulham weren't very sharp. But yeah.
Wi-Fi and
And
Baleba,
4.5 million.
did you see the DEFCON numbers for both of them? Both very high up.
Yeah. And Wyford did really well last year as well, apparently. He got like 30-40% success rate as well. So keep an eye on that. And that's about it.
Spurs, Burnley. I thought Burnley. What did you think? Before we talk Spurs, let's talk a little bit about Burnley because I do want to. I think the promoted sides are a lot better this year, and with Burnley, I think maybe initially I was being a bit too harsh on them, thinking they didn't offer much. But I think in the second half, they did offer a little bit. Obviously, the end product in the final third was probably where they were lacking defensively. They were quite open. I thought I expected them to be a bit more resolute in terms of parking the bus, but their press was quite aggressive. Spurs, apart from 2 moments of brilliance, they didn't really create that many.
Yeah. And Spurs also looked pretty open at the back. Like they didn't have control of the midfield. I think the midfield is a slight issue that needs sorting, which is why somebody like Eze comes as well. Because Baker also keeps telling us Poro's the best passer in that team. They need somebody who can carry the ball, spray it around, etc. as well. Once Eze and Kulusevski both come into the team, Spurs will be a delight to watch, and they're already shaping up to be a good team. So just a little wary of their defense. That's all a little bit. Van de Ven looks decent on set pieces. I wonder if at some point we might think, especially with Eze coming in, if Eze takes set pieces, I wonder if Poro down to Van de Ven might be a good way to save $1 million.
That being said, though, I think the Van der Ven was given the task of really muscling out Dubravka, and I thought Dubravka was very weak coming out for set pieces. It was a specific role, I think. And from what I've read, they're also in the market specifically for a left-sided centre back. So hold your horses a little bit. Obviously, it's a good hold now, and a Thomas Frank team will always be good at set pieces. But Poro, I think, will also benefit. But that being said, I just realized Poro will also lose a lot of set pieces, I think, when Eze comes.
Exactly. That's what. So one to monitor. At the moment, just chill with your picks.
Solanke obviously not a pick right now. Richarlison also, I guess you can't go there because of Solanke lurking.
Yeah. Just wait and watch. Like I eventually think I won't be surprised to see Solanke play up front, and Richarlison, if he continues this form, just play the role he was playing at Everton, that left forward role. Suits him also. He's pretty mobile as well. And I think, but actually with Eze coming, you don't know what happens. Maybe Eze plays as a 10. Just have to wait and watch. We have to learn with Spurs outside
I
of
think Eze has to
Kudus.
play as a 10 because right now Sar was playing there. I think that he just automatically slots in there. And Kudus just looks so good. Man, he had 3 assists in total for West Ham last year, 2 now. Obviously, won't have Richarlison hitting these overhead kicks, but there were a couple of times he could have scored as well. The ball was inches away from him. So, and the next game,
And he's going to be playing as a striker.
Exactly. The next game in the back three, he's going to be playing the Boomo role. At 6.5, he looks good. If somebody I'm monitoring, if I need money next week to downgrade Palmer and raise Haaland, that's where I'll probably go.
I'm still not there though. Not convinced about him as a pick.
Still waiting to see. I'd much rather have Eze. I think 7.5 for Eze. I'd much rather pay that than 6.5 for Kudus. But as an enabler, in that 6.5 bracket, I think he's pretty much shot up higher than Ndai because we saw Everton yesterday, right? How many goals are Everton going to score?
I didn't see the game. Can you tell? We'll talk about it actually.
We'll talk about once we get there.
Yeah.
But then like, if you're looking at the
I just want to urge caution about Kudus as a pick.
Yes.
What I liked as a tick box is he took set pieces from one side and they're really good on set pieces. But you want goal scorers, right? Not assisters in your team. So
That's the
that's why
point
I'm
I was
just
saying. He was close to goal just because he didn't get the XG or he had zero shots in the box. If you watch the game, he was always box hanging. Couple of times the ball was just inches away of a rebound coming off a defender. So it's not like he's not in and about the 6 yard area.
yeah, sure.
But again, the
And the games
dynamics
which
will
is
change a little bit with Eze. And I was just speaking to Baker before coming on. He's like, Eze is going to be the goal scorer. Kudus is still going to be chiefly the creator. So you want ultimately the goal scorer.
fair. Yeah. Just a wait and watch. I think outside of if you own Kudus, fair. But I don't think you jump in immediately. You've got City, see how things work out, and then see what you want to do.
I like the Bournemouth because right after the game week 3 and 4 fixtures, I think are really good for their attack. They play Bournemouth and West Ham.
Yeah, both are good. Agree.
That's when you make your move.
Zoph is itchy, huh? To make some transfers. I can sense it.
I can
He's very itchy
very itchy,
to
very itchy.
make
But
some days
obviously,
of it.
but I'm not obviously doing anything this week. But again, like I said, week after that, everyone's spot is
Yeah.
up for grabs.
Actually, I'm in a very different spectrum to you right now. I'm calm, chill, pretty okay, very happy to learn right now. That's where I am. As of now, you don't know on Sunday 2 transfers, 3 transfers made. If that happens, it happens.
I think it's a lot to do with how annoying Chelsea were with the one
Yeah.
midfielder. We'll talk about that a bit
Yeah.
later. It's Sunderland, West Ham. Now 3-0, I think, doesn't tell the entire story over here. The entire game had combined under 1 XG. West Ham in the first half, in fact, were quite dominant. Diouf was very attacking. But again, in the second half, Sunderland, I think, took those headers very well.
Yeah, I was actually very confused about this game when I watched the highlights. So I tweeted about it, and a lot of Sunderland and West Ham fans replied to me. So did a friend who's a Sunderland fan as well. They're like, West Ham had a little more control, but it's a little bit of both sides evening each other out in the first half. But the Sunderland fan told me that he always got the feeling that the West Ham defense was there for the taking. It felt a little weak. The centre backs also felt a little weak to concede those headers. It was a little weak. So it does feel like that team is there for the taking, especially because Mr. Ward-Prowse plays in midfield and he's absolutely done as a midfielder, in my opinion. His time is done. That midfield and that defense feels very weak and potentially there to be taken advantage of at the moment when it comes to West Ham. So
They don't even have
that's
the
why
personnel. They have Guido Rodriguez, who I think is also a problem. Suchek has never been one really to look upon as defensive solid.
Paqueta is not interested at the moment. So
It's a problem
it
for
was just
Potter.
yeah. The only one who seemed to be trying was Bowen, poor guy. And the wing backs are pretty good as well. So yeah, he needs to figure shit out there pretty soon. But like I said, right, people are going big on Diouf. He did really well, but like we kept saying on the pod that we're expecting a goal at the Stadium of Light first game back in the league, and they were buzzing, man. And I'm happy for them. That team looks interesting. You know what really impressed me in that team? Diarra. So aggressive and all action in that midfield. So he impressed me. But important point is I think bench boost just has to wait now, especially if you've gone for Gui, because it doesn't look like he's going to get minutes anytime soon.
The worst case scenario, Mayenda scores, then Isidore comes on and scores. So Giyu's time in the team is probably delayed for another couple of weeks, at least, you'd think.
Yeah. People were saying that there's a way to do it. If you want to go, if you lost weight in Mo Salah, you can go Salah to Haaland. You can go Gio to Haaland, and you can go Salah to Josh King. If people really wanted to
You
play
can even
it.
go 5. You can even go Stark, I think, because Haaland is
Yeah.
like, what, 0.5 cheap. And I was very impressed by Stark. We'll talk to him about the Leeds game. Would be one of the signings of the summer. Very, very impressed.
Nice. I'm excited to hear about that.
And also in general, I
so
think
yeah.
what the promoted teams have done differently this year, I think they're a lot more physical. At least from what I've seen with Sunderland and Leeds, I think they have the physicality to survive in the league much more so than the teams last year. Like Southampton, you see the way they were trying to play, like prime, like, Barcelona types with those agile sort of players. They can't do that in the Premier League, I think, anymore.
Yeah. And shout out to FPL, man. They priced Ballard at 4.5 billion. Did you see that?
Yes, yes.
So they did their research. It wasn't like they came in blind. That was great. Like I appreciated the fact that they priced him at 4.5 million because he's a goal scoring / DEFCON beast. I think it was it was either Rico or Maka from our Discord as well who called him out as somebody who's going to do really well a week ago on the Discord as well. So that was quite interesting.
Shout out to Clayton from Planet FPL. I saw their pod on Friday. So Clayton had him in there only because Ballard is ex-Arsenal, but he took him out just before the deadline.
Ah, shit.
Work related.
All right.
Let's
Wolves
talk about
City, I
the
think a
Wolves Man
lot to
City.
unpack.
I mean, I just want to talk about again. I'm not itchy to make transfers for anyone else other than Erling Haaland, man. I just a feeling that he's going to go berserk over the next 4 or 5 games. Just the sense I'm getting of City this season is that they mean business.
Yeah, my favorite is to win the title as well. So I hear you. Do you think is there a greater than 0% chance that you get him before game week 2 deadline?
No, not game week 2. Because ultimately the fixtures of players I'm looking at make weights are Ollie Watkins, who's playing Brentford, and Palmer, who's playing West Ham. And then you have right now, I want to see what Haaland does against your Thomas Frank deep block. But game week 3,
Yeah.
because the captaincy, I don't really trust Salah as much against Arsenal. I don't want to take a captain against Arsenal. Game week 3 is where it gets tricky because I don't have that faith in Palmer just yet against that Fulham team. And Fulham are good defensively. It's not as good a fixture, for example, as a Brighton.
Yeah. And thankfully for you, as a TJ owner, Anderson is going to hold price. So you're going to be okay there as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Fair enough, man. I want to talk about one performance in particular, and shout out to Eno, who's been bigging this guy up for the last 2 years. Oscar Bob, man, on that right hand side was really, really good. And there's a world in which he locks that role down on the right hand side. They don't have a naturally right footed winger in that team. Doku and Savinho both are essentially left sided wingers. He's 5.5 million, just one to keep an eye on, I thought. Also, just a couple of other observations. If you could go to the chart
Asma?
with the position map. Yeah. So what happens? Guardiola was injured, which is an important point to note here because Ait Nouri sort of played as the third centre back, and as you can see, Lico Ruiz inverted to come into the midfield. Now, generally, this third centre back role, Guardiola is just perfectly suited to play this third centre back role. So, what happens when Guardiola is fit? Does Ait Nouri play this as a third centre back, or does Guardiola play? Or does Guardiola come as centre back? We don't have that information at the moment. So, before you jump onto Ait Nouri, just wanted to add that piece of context so that you can make your decisions accordingly. And Pep is going to set up differently against a team like Spurs that's going to park. I just think there's a lot to learn in terms of what happens with the system there. And then you take your calls when it comes to City. So as of now, the only two picks that are 100%, not 100%, really good picks in City look like Haaland and Reinders. Just because Reinders is cheap, it's a very... Like the world in which Reinders goes wrong is a very, very different world because he's just that cheap. At 5.5, 6 million, you don't need to expect too much. So that's what I want to speak about when it comes to City. And like you, both of us were actually impressed by one pick in this team, not on this team. Why don't you talk about him?
Strand Larsen?
Yes.
But before that, I want to talk about Trafford. It was good to see City having a proper goalkeeper now. They don't sign somebody. I think Trafford could be the set and forget 5.0 for the season.
Yeah, and I hope it's the case. I just like the guy and I like the setup, and I hope if the guy that they're bringing up to be the next England keeper gets a run out as a starting keeper for a team like City. I just feel like he's ready. We've heard from everybody who was watching the championship last year that he was their best keeper by far. He was the reason why Burnley kept so many clean sheets because he overperformed. That's the reason why Burnley overperformed their expected data as well. So they conceded a lot fewer goals than their expected data because of Trafford. So yeah, I hope that sticks.
Getting back to Strand Larsen, 4 shots in the box. I thought he was a bit unlucky not to score. And you could see the chances are all being funneled to him completely. I think he's going to be the big chance hogger. But the 2 caveats I think I do want to put forth. You notice that he was heavily strapped. I think he was pretty much like half Egyptian mummy. All parts of his body had different sort of strapping on them. And a couple of times he actually went off the ball, which was more worrying. A contact injury I don't mind so much, but this sort of patched him up for him to play on a little bit. So just a little bit of concern. I'd like to maybe give it another couple of games or maybe at least one game to make sure he's fully fit. And the second one, obviously, is the transfer rumors. You have to be mindful of. If he does move to Newcastle, and apparently from what we hear from Ornstein, the player is keen on the move, though he's not necessarily agitating for it. So in which case, if you do look to buy him, let's say in game week 3, when he has a good fixture, I think they play Everton at home. Just be wary of those transfer rumors. But at 6.5,
I just think a point is game week 5 then, because after Everton you've got Newcastle as well, so it's not like a great run of fixtures. So then after Leeds, exactly. So that's when you jump on if you have to.
Anything else from this game? Move on to the next one.
No, Wolves look good. I thought the
I
scoreline
mean,
did them
looking
damage.
good, I would say is a bit of a stretch because I thought defensively they were quite ropey. In terms of attack, also they need more weapons, man. They just don't have them right
Yeah,
now.
yeah. Raz did play. They did sign one more wing back, I think today or
Fer,
yesterday, if
I
I'm
think
not
his name is
mistaken.
Fer Lopez.
Yeah, yeah. And I do want to say that City's clean sheet was a little lucky. I think Wolves could have easily
Yes,
scored. They got
I'd agree
behind.
with that.
That City defense quite a few times as well. So I just want to add that.
But again, I think City sort of allowed them and encouraged that just so they could have those room on the transitions.
Yeah, but is that something we might see as a trend?
Yeah, because I don't think he's going to go control ball as much anymore, not with Linders
Yeah,
in there.
exactly. And I know maybe it shifts when Rodri comes, right? Big upgrade once Nico
That's
Gonzalez
something
shifts
else that I
to.
think Luke mentioned, right? Because he didn't have Rodri in there. That's why he went
Yeah,
perhaps with this setup.
exactly.
Move on to the
All right, your
next one.
team.
Our team, Chelsea Palace.
I knew you were going to say that. That's why I very quickly
Obviously.
said your team.
Yep. But frustrating, man, a little bit because I didn't remember, like I was discussing this with Anurag in our Discord earlier. The only real two chances which you could call big chances came late on in the game, one to Estevao and the other one to Andre Santos. Apart from that, you could create nothing through the middle because you had Wharton and Hughes completely marking Palmer out. That off the ball shape Palace, especially in these away games, is so good that, like, we can't really read too much into this. I think you have to give Chelsea at least one more game, if not two. You give the West Ham game and observe, because Palmer really didn't have a sniff at all in terms of chances created, in terms of shots. The supply line to him was completely cut off.
Yeah, but Palace do that, right? They're just a good team. So I just think you take this sort of a setup with a pinch of salt because it felt like, oh, we are going back to Chelsea of last year where they weren't that impressive. And it felt a little bit of like that. But then we saw different Chelsea during the Club World Cup, especially when you're played against teams like PSG. But you generally get more space when you're playing a team like PSG as well. So it's just which Chelsea is the true Chelsea. We don't know.
Because this is very much
Uh,
second half, the control one. We talk about more of the control Maresca rather than encouraging the transitions which we saw in the first half of the
yeah.
season.
I also think there's a little bit to be said that the fact that Crystal Palace just played 4 more games in preseason. That's why I just looked way sharper. Like there's a little bit to that, in terms of overreaction on Chelsea and how bad they look, etc. Relatively, like Palace just were sharper and were more ready for a game like this. Like Chelsea will progressively improve, so you have to be a little patient. Cucurella is your striker, man. The amount of box hanging he does is insane. Have you missed out on that pick?
Mm, Again, I think it might change game to game. What happened last game also is that we have to play James in there because I don't think he trusts either Akyempong or the other guy Chaloba to really with the passing, right? James had to do a lot of the distribution over there. If you put Gusto in there, that's when you unlock Palmer to get inside. In which case, Cucurella has to chill a little bit deeper.
Exactly, exactly. And any worry about Pedro not starting against West Ham?
Not really. I would say I think you have to give him this game because Delap, while he did look good while he came out, it's not like he scored, right? I think you have to just go with what worked for at least one more game. Now, if Delap comes on and scores that one, or we just look ineffective again, maybe then he goes with that something for Fulham. But I think Pedro should start this one. If he doesn't, it's a surprise.
All right. And the captaincy conversation we'll do in the captaincy
Yeah.
section
What about you? Where are
later.
you on Pedro?
Yeah, giving him time, but he's on a shorter leash for me than Palmer is. That's all. But I'm happy to give him time. Let's see where we are, game week 2, because I'm hoping that the West Ham game is just a much better game for Chelsea. That's all.
So
Palace, man, lot to take. I just feel bad that the squad is getting gutted because this is such an exciting team, right? And I like Glasner and I like what they're doing and I like the team in general. They're in for El Canus. I want to see how much it impacts them. That said, I just think outside of those two pieces, I just don't think the impact of losing Eze and Gehi will be as drastic as the impact of Olise because I think this team is now into 2 years of Glasner and they're just very used to the shape
very
and they know
system
what they're
driven.
doing.
Yes.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, actually, you also mentioned the previous, it was in the chat I was having with you that Wharton is actually key. As long as Wharton is there, they will still manage to get ball progression because he's just got such a great eye for a pass. Like the pass that he made to Mateta between the lines, So good.
So good.
You don't have such good ball players in the league anymore, man. S- So yeah.
I have to say a note on Bob Sanchez. I absolutely hate the man. He's the bane of my FPL existence as a Chelsea fan. Because you ask me, what is your one regret, Zoph, from Game Week 1? The last call, Baker and I always do these deadline day calls, and almost half an hour of the call was dedicated to the goalkeeper option. I was trying to convince him on Sanchez. At one point, he was trying to convince me on Cells. And ultimately, I realized that I just hate Sanchez too much to put him in my team. When he just goes
Yeah.
about and gets a 7-pointer and gets a bonus point added yesterday. Should have
I
sorted
mean,
the
that
minutes.
like, but so much of that is the flip of the coin, right? Like it came down to one soft penalty decision versus one free kick goal
The
not given
VR.
because of a rule we've not heard in 15 years. Like it was that flip of the coin
Yeah,
that determined the points there. So
I
I don't
thought
think you
Palace
paid
would
too
have
much
scored.
attention.
But honestly, that was the reason I didn't go there. But we shall wait and see over the next few.
On paper, Palace had the better chances than Brentford did against Forest. But things don't work as per paper in FPL, right? So
Right.
that's how the cookie crumbles.
So our general message is, I guess, hold faith on your Chelsea guys, Pedro and Palmer, at least for one more week. And Palace guys, I think you can even start buying now. You're looking at your
Yeah.
Munoz, your Matetas.
So happy about Munoz, by the way. It felt like it ain't much, but it's a good day at work sort of meme. Like he got me a 5-pointer when I was not expecting it. Very happy with that.
I think he's going to be a great pick for you going forward to the fixtures. Now, I
Yeah.
think it's interesting with Palace because they have good fixture, average fixture, good fixture, average fixture for the next few.
Yeah.
So not many will be going there, I think.
Yeah.
Moving on now to Forest, Brentford. As soon as Forest went 3-0 up, I started worrying about the clean sheet.
Yeah. Because the wood can only rise for so long, right? So
Right.
yeah.
We had to get that in
Yeah.
there. Better you than
I
me.
had to get.
But yeah, Chris Wood, man, did you see he had 3 defenders on him for the corner that he scored? He just pushed aside all of them.
Yeah, man. So this is that. I just think you don't jump onto him immediately because the fixture in Game Week 2 against Palace, like you saw what Palace did to Chelsea. I think it's going to
And
be a
that
much.
game, big grudge match. Because I think Forest are the ones
Yeah.
who are effectively, like, they actually campaigned. They implemented themselves in the legal process to make sure that Palace get removed from the Europa League. Marinakis went
Yeah,
all out.
exactly. So just wait and watch on him. Don't need to get in this early. I do think there's enough strikers around him that are competitive to the bracket. If he does this again against Palace, then just admit that he's inevitable and make sure you get Wood in a week's time. That's all. What else can I say?
Yeah.
But kudos to Forest. I just thought they played some really good football there. I think Gibbs White was on it. I think Addison was on it. I thought Woods' run. Did you see that different angle of Woods' run? Like as soon as just before
You're
the
talking about
ball
the
fell
pass that
to
Anderson
Anderson.
played to him, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Before the ball fell to him, Wood made his run. Like that just talks about great team chemistry, man. So yeah. And I'm excited to see what they do when McCarthy comes in and McAtee comes in and Hutchinson comes in and Douglas Lewis comes in and they got a new striker as well. Just interesting project to watch. Don't worry and panic about your Forest defenders. In fact, the Palace game is likelier to be a DEFCON game than a Brentford game. Brentford offered nothing. But also don't jump to the conclusion with Brentford also because like we spoke at the top of the pod, getting Shada, Damsgaard, Henderson, and Utara in is just a big upgrade on that team compared to what they played against Forest.
Yep. And what do you think in general now going for this fixture now, Forest against Palace? A lot of us have your two Forest defenders. Most of us are in the setup where we have a goalkeeper and a defender. Do you like splitting the risk, playing a Dubravka there, or go all in on Forest over here?
I like spreading the risk, but I'm confident that if you have a Murillo, you play a Murillo. So if you want to
I think
split
you
a
play the
risk,
outfield guy, you bench the goalkeeper, you play a Dubravka
you bench the
instead.
goalkeeper. Yeah, that's it.
I'm bored with you. Let's just look at the odds also over there in terms of clean sheet to back that up. Now, Forest for clean sheet are about 21% on Solio, while Burnley are 34%. So that's about 50% more. That is a significant difference.
Yeah. But I also feel like it's the kind of game where Cells could get saves.
So this could get you 11-pointer. If they do keep a clean sheet, then
Yeah.
you can realize that he's going to make shitloads of saves.
But also the kind of team that Sunderland were, if you really think about it, like you think that their strikers are not as lethal as Palace's strikers, right? So there could be it could be a game in which Dubravka also farm saves.
Agree.
Yeah.
Anderson
I
again,
think maybe
hats off to him.
splitting the risk is where I'm leaning.
Moving on to United Arsenal. Why don't you start this one? I'll tell you what I want to start. This is the most impressed I've been watching Manchester United, I think, in the last 3.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. It was a good, impressive performance. But the real test is, I think, the game against Fulham. Because Arsenal just shut shop. Arsenal refused to play once they scored the goal, right? They're just Jose Mourinho max, man. They just stopped playing. Literally just bed, 7, 8, 9 men behind the ball. Didn't care about what United were doing. And we didn't have the tools or the incisiveness or the team chemistry yet to cut through that very solid defense at the moment. But yeah, things look very, very good. One of the reasons why I didn't go with Bruno Gimmick one is I had a feeling that one of Cunha or Pumo would emerge as the pick for $1 million cheaper. This game has substantiated that sort of theory that I have in my head. So I'm very willing to wait and watch and see which United attacker I want to go for when I go for one. At the moment, Cunha seems to be winning that race. Even Boomer was in great attacking position. So I just think that we could save $1 million there and get the right United attacker. That's where I'm with United. I was very happy about the Doku performance. If you notice, he created the best shot and the best assist chance. The Boomo header was a Doku cross as well. So feeling good about that pick. Euro got DEFCON, which is interesting because I think he's nailed. Euro and Dillit both impressed me in defense as well.
Fantastic.
And Arsenal, man, great defensive performance. In general, like I don't think you can take away the fact how good Arsenal were defensively, and you just want to jump on them as soon as a greener run of fixtures emerges.
Saliba was actually bossing the DEFCON, I think, more so than Gabriel, and I think that might be the case as we go.
Yep.
Bruno was also quite good.
What?
I always look for the butt test in terms of players, like how hard I clench my butt when a player I don't own has the ball. My butt was clenched a lot whenever Bruno did have the ball. I think he created 5 chances, not as many shots, but always there on the edge of the box. Anytime he got a layoff to him, he still was thereabouts.
It's interesting. So I watch every piece of United content there is, right? So about 3 or 4 interviews, he keeps saying, I wish I'm the 4th or 5th highest goal scorer this season. I hope Cunha, Seshko and Boomo get higher goals than me. My job is to help the team and to assist them. I just think that says a lot in terms of the role that he's seeing himself for.
There was an interview with Amorim also that you were sent to me, right?
Yeah, and he keeps saying that yes, I will have my share of goals and assists, but I want to help my teammates more. That's the sort of mindset that he is in at the moment. So it's also 9 million, right? It's not less to pay for. I mean, but still, he could have been. He was one DEFCON and a penalty decision away from shooting 10 points.
That's what it's going to be with Bruno. So it's going to be a lot of feast or famine, I think.
Yeah. How I see it, right, is like while you're learning about the FPL landscape and figuring out who the 8 million pick is, 7 million pick is, 10 million pick is, Bruno is just a good placeholder to have because he's a great price point to go up or down while you're learning. And then he happens to have Fulham at Burnley right now, which allows you to assess the landscape and then you decide where you want to go. Because I think eventually there will be a point where we've learned enough information that we can take on Bruno as a 9 million pick. But we just don't have that information yet. Move on to Leeds. Interesting, actually, very important point actually that we should mention on the point is FPL Swee's tweet where he quoted a Swedish journalist who happens to be very, very close to the agent that said that Gyökeres is going to be taking penalties for Arsenal this season. I just think that's a very, very important piece of information. But like we saw, Gyökeres and his teammates both need to get used to each other a little. There's going to be a little bit of a learning curve there. And Kai is no mug. He's not going to sit on the bench all the time. So because of Arsenal's poor fixtures after Leeds, and Leeds not being as easy a fixture as we thought it to be, you can take your time to jump on that wagon.
Talk about Leeds.
I didn't see the game, so why don't you take this one?
It's a very different team from what we had under Bielsa, right? I think that's what I remember of Leeds. This team was much more organized, and I think Stark in the midfield was just absolutely everywhere in terms of ball recovery, ball progression, and the physicality. I think he's definitely going to be one of the signings of the summer. And their fullbacks really pushed up. I don't know whether it's something they're going to be doing on away games as much, but both Goodmanson and Bogle were both very advanced. Bogle getting into the box a bit more, perhaps, than Goodmanson. He took one corner. I think Stark was the one who gestured, you can go take this one. Then after that, I think he didn't take any set pieces after that. He appears to be better than the rest for bonus. But again, that might be a little bit opposition dependent, depending on the winger he had to play on that side, right? I think in terms of FPL picks as such, though, there are not that many out there at the moment. I don't think any of the attack you can really invest in. Maybe Stark, I think at 5.0.
Yeah.
That's about
But
it.
a decision to go 4.0 Leeds defender over Burnley is validated, you reckon?
I think so from what I've seen. But again, I haven't seen how Burnley perform on home turf. But from Leeds, what I've seen, they're going to give anyone a match at Ellen Road. It will not be an easy fixture for any Premier League team.
Exactly. That's the sort of sense we got as well, which is why we went for Leeds 4.0 defender over a Burnley one, because we just thought he could. Leeds have actually good fixtures game week 4, 5, 6, 7. So if at all you're looking for a defender, and Zoph already got 7 points game week 1 from a Leeds defender as well. So just proving the worth.
11.1 XGC in home matches last season. In 23 home matches, to consider under half an XG average is phenomenal.
Yeah, better underlying data than Burnley, who lost Trafford. Yeah.
Let's talk captaincy
Everton?
a little. I think
They didn't
Everton,
play,
oh yeah,
get to
let's talk
play.
Everton a little bit. I mean, there's very little to tell from Everton. They just were completely smothered in midfield. They struggled. It was just all Tarko heading the ball, heading the ball, heading the ball. They had very little in terms of attack.
All right.
I
Yeah,
think
I
also
think
we
that
should
team will also
mention
take a
the
little.
one quote from Moyes in the pre-match game. They asked him specifically about Grealish. Like they asked him, where do you want Grealish to play? He says, I want Grealish to play either on the 10 or on the left. So that just takes down Ndiaye and KD at stock a little bit, right?
Yeah, it
Because
does.
then you see KD a little bit going to the pivot.
Exactly. Wait and watch. Taco, DEFCON monster. You know, people say that a lot of data was rubbish. No, DEFCON monster. Taco is still a DEFCON monster.
He did in 60 minutes.
You take 4 points, man, in a game like this. That's his flaw in most
And he
games.
cleaned 11.
Yeah, that's just great. Actually, let's go to that chart. Let's go to the DEFCON chart. I think it's a good transition to go into that one.
Go just talk us
Go
through.
to Hadley's.
Go to Hadley's.
Yeah, it's easier. It's better viewing as well. Yeah. Shout out to Tom Hadley. He's agreed to just send us all these charts as he keeps making them. And this is something, there's going to be a lot of noise in this table for the first 3, 4, 5 weeks. But I think after 4 or 5 weeks, we might start seeing trends in terms of which defenders are hitting the CB and which opponents are better from a tactical standoff point of view, where it's nailed on that you can get your center backs will get CB points against, let's say, Everton, for example. That sort of information is what we're looking for. It might help us in some matchup decisions, whether we're looking to play defender A or defender B, where we can see that when defender A is playing this opposition, the center back tends to get DEFCON points against that. So we're just waiting for more proof in the pudding here. But actually, if you see the names, Van Dijk, Lacroix, Senesi, Tarkowski, Van de Ven, Ballard,
Vandenberg.
Vandenberg. A lot of these names we were expecting to be high DEFCON merchants.
Only Aina was potentially, I think, the lowest, in our priority in terms of Forest defenders. That was a bit surprising. But again, it is to do with the winger he plays on that side.
Yeah. And it had just to do with how terrible Brentford were. In fact, you want a slightly better opposition because that gives you a higher chance of 10 points. Because if it's a really poor opposition that don't play at all, your defenders aren't going to get any DC points if you fully dominate the game as well. So it's that perception about completely easy fixtures versus middling fixtures.
Yeah, something like that's why we like Anderson at home to Manchester United this week, right? Because it's a good fixture for your DEFCON. It's a competitive game.
Yeah. And even Murillo against Palace. Just a good fixture. Yeah.
Let's talk captaincy.
Let's talk captaincy.
In terms of goal projections, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Liverpool are the top 4. Where are you looking at?
I do expect the Newcastle-Liverpool game to be fairly open. I don't expect it to be like a 0-0 that we saw. And Newcastle will do everything in their power to not lose the game, because I think there's a lot of ego at stake here in this game. But Eddie Howe, like Baker keeps putting in a header, Eddie Howe's a good matchup manager. But I just don't think he'll have enough to shut this Liverpool attack down. I think they'll have too much. So I think I see 1 or 2 goals. But if West Ham are as weak as I expect them to be, I do expect Chelsea to be better, and I expect Palmer to be better. So I'm feeling the chance. I feel like Palmer's got a ceiling, so I'm between the two. I'm not on Brentford facing Watkins because he's relying too much on just open play stuff. With Palmer and Salah, you can still fluke a penalty, right? So I'm between the two midfielders. at the moment, I'm 65% leaning towards Palmer because I just think Chelsea won't be as poor, and I think West Ham is a weaker opposition.
And I think let's just rank the captaincy picks. If you have an Arsenal
No, where are
attacker,
you? Just talk it out.
me,
And
because I
I'm,
just I'll just I think maybe it shouldn't play into it, but the fact that we are playing on Friday night, I just don't want my entire weekend to be ruined by Chelsea completely screwing up at West Ham and Palmer blanking. So I'll
yeah.
just go with Salah
And
who
the
plays on Monday night. But it's a
and the fact is,
50-50
this Monday
decision.
night you've got hopium till Monday night. That helps. No, why do we shouldn't shy away from saying these things also, because I think it plays on every single FPL manager's mind. See, at the
It
end of the
does.
day, you're trying to optimize your weekend and have a good weekend, right? So if you own Palmer, you don't captain him. If he scores a brace, you're happy, and you're still looking forward to
Salah cap.
the Monday night on Salah cap, right? So fair enough, man.
And
Fair
if it
enough.
was
I think the
clear,
downside.
if I was clear that yes, this is the best pick without a doubt, then I wouldn't even think about it. But when it's a 50-50, I'll let my heart go over my head.
Yeah,
And I genuinely
fair
think
shout.
that Newcastle game could really be anything. Because that game, I think tactics are just going to out the window. There's just going to be so much emotion in that stadium. And I think Liverpool have the weapons to exploit that.
I agree with you. Okay, I'm 55, 30, 45 in Palmer's favor. This one is going to go down to the edge. I think it's that close. I don't think it's, like you said, it's close. Yeah. But
But
if
I
you had
think,
Haaland, would you
if,
captain him over the other two?
yes, I think so.
Seems a more of a surer bet, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But like looking at, like talking to you about this game, Salah also has a very high ceiling in such a
Very,
game.
very high ceiling, bro. There's going to be a lot of
Like,
space in this game. Defending is not going to be a priority for either team in this one.
whew.
You remember last season also we overlooked Salah for I think it was Palmer, I think who got an assist. I think then Salah went on to get that brace late on.
What's Salah's record like against Newcastle? Let me check it out.
I mean Liverpool, Newcastle historically, I just remember that fixture has shitloads of goals. I can't remember it ever being a low scoring fixture, right from when I started watching football.
17 games against Newcastle for Salah. He's got 10 goals and 8 assists. So higher than a returner game. And last season, away was a 3-3. He got a goal and assist. At home, he got 1 assist. Oh my God. Season before that at home, it was a 4-2. He got a goal, 2 goals and an assist. And away, he got an assist.
But the season before that, it was a 7-1 or 7-2 or something. That's the game where Liverpool lacked up like 6 or 7 XG. That was
Jeez.
against Klopp Liverpool.
That was Klopp. There's no 7-2 here on transfer market page I'm seeing. But the last...
I think they had 7 XG maybe. That's what it is.
Yeah. The last 2 away games, he scored 2 goals and 1 assist away, man, last season in a 3-3. I think that was the game in which Darwin came and he played him through and he got that winning goal, if I'm not mistaken, as well.
No, I think that's a 2-0. I think that's a 2-0 when they got a man sent off.
That was a 2-0 game. That was a home game.
But anyway, let's just look at some of the other picks also, right? People have the Arsenal guys. Would you go with the Arsenal? Let's say if you have a Saka over any of these guys?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I think so, because that's pretty much why you started with Saka, right? You've not started with Saka because you want him for United or City.
Yeah, exactly. And like this is a week where captaincy will be fairly split. Haaland, Salah, Palmer, Watkins, and Arsenal attackers will all raise their hands. So yeah, take the chance because you're not going to be battling against too much EO, I reckon. Either way.
I think to rank them, I think the Arsenal mid or maybe even Gyökeres you go for Haaland, Salah, Palmer would be where I would rank it.
You know, I still feel like Salah and Palmer, one of them is more prone to explosion because I think Frank will park. I like the mids more for this captaincy this week.
He'll park, but I still don't trust the Spurs centre backs to defend. That's what it is.
Danso, Van de Ven, and Romero is good, man. That's all.
Good, maybe pushing it, but not bad. I think I can agree with that.
Fair shot. I hear you. Yeah, Haaland's Haaland, man.
Just the vibe I'm getting. I know this whole pod, people are going to be like, Zoph is just tripping on Haaland the entire thing, but just the vibe I'm getting from City.
But that's okay. Be yourself. Show your personality. It's fine, man. If you like somebody, you like somebody. Erling's shown enough leg and I hear you. All right.
I think between Palmer, Salah, I don't think I will be going Palmer.
Yeah. With you also, you don't like the double hedge on Chelsea anyway when it's close.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've got Pedro also, so imagine it could just be catastrophic.
All right.
Anything else? We move on to our drafts.
Let's move. Yeah, let's move on to our drafts. I think we're good.
Give us a like and subscribe plug before we have actually gained 50, around 25, 30 subscribers during the pod.
If you could just make us really, really happy, get us to 40,300 before the end of the pod, that'd be really, really lovely. If you could just somehow get there. And 1,100 people, 1,200 people now watching the stream and just 280 likes. That's just a terrible view to like ratio. Right? If you're watching, it doesn't take much to just help click that button. It really, really helps us out, man. So just do it.
So this is process team. I'll read it out. Sells, Esteve, Richards, and Anderson. Reinders, Salakap, Bruno, Palmer, Wirtz, Ryan Larson, Watkins. On the bench, Dubravka, Porro, Van de Ven, and Guiu. Plus is saving a transfer. He said the only decision he is debating is the goalkeeper, whether to go double Burnley or stick with Sells. And he's likely right now leaning towards the hedge, primarily because of Forest defense being so highly owned. And I think I'd agree with that. He plays
Yeah.
Sells here.
And he's also not sure about the captaincy between Salah and Palmer as things stand.
We'll find out more in his team selection video. I think he's going to be putting that out tomorrow.
Later, yes.
Is yours? Can you see it or read it out?
I'll read it out. I have Sells, Munoz, Murillo, Torgu, Wirtz, Palmer captain as things stand, Salah, Rutter, Reinders, Watkins, and Pedro. Pedro Porro first sub. Would you play Porro over any of them?
Not over Munoz, definitely. With Murillo, I would much rather play like anything. I would rather play Dubravka in your case rather than bench Murillo.
Exactly. Would you play Porro over any of them? Not really, right? I think
The only one you could consider really is Dorgu. But then I think he could very easily keep a clean sheet at Fulham. I don't see Porro keeping a clean sheet away to City.
Exactly. So that's where I am. So I think
just a goalkeeper, maybe if you fancy getting some sort of Burnley.
I'm very likely switching just because you said to hedge my bets, get in Dubravka over Sells.
Yeah, because the difference is in marginal. It's a significant difference, so it's worth giving it a go. And Burnley, this is the kind of game they will need to win at home against.
And more games to watch, right?
More games to watch, more involvement.
Yeah.
So I've got similar. I've got Dubravka in goal, Anderson, Richards, and Murillo. Wirtz, Salakap, Reinders, Palmer, Rogers, Joao Pedro, Watkins with Porro, EU and Rodon and Sells on the bench. Rolling a transfer, Salakap.
Right. Are we taking any questions? Or
tell me, we can take a few questions.
Right. If anybody has any questions, we are happy to take a few of them. We'll hang around for 5 minutes. Pras just topped up on the tank and he shared his team
mic. What's wrong with my mic? I don't know if you guys can tell me in the chat. The mic is fine. I can pick up everything over here.
Yeah, if you guys can let us know, we'll fix that up as well. Let's see. I think people will take a while for questions to come.
What are you looking for primarily on this weekend? That's going to determine your moves for next.
I want to see how Villa and Chelsea look, man. That's the most important thing.
Pretty much because I'm doubled up on both those teams, so that's the thing.
Yeah, and I'm fairly optimistic in both situations. I think they will come through. I believe in both the teams and the managers. It's maybe not your manager, but I believe in Emery for him to come through, and I believe in the class of Cole Palmer as well. So I hope that comes. So that's what I'll be looking at. And I'm excited to see United, man. I tweeted on Monday morning. It's been a long time since I felt like I can't wait for the next Manchester United game as well. So I'm just excited to watch us play. Having grown-ups play is quite nice.
Yep. I love a dig, but I'm always happy to see when a club like that does get back to its old roots. Because you want to see a competitive league, man. I'm just happy to see every team stronger, and I'm really encouraged by the promoted teams this season.
Yeah. So Yogesh has said that there is a deep sounding static sound when you speak. It goes away when I speak.
Okay, I'll have a look.
All right. Okay, so we've got some questions. Dubravka versus Sanchez if no Steph. Sanchez for me.
Sanchez. No, I wouldn't be benching Sanchez at all because his clean sheet odds are significantly better.
Yeah. Haaland versus Palmer cap?
Haaland versus Haaland, as we mentioned, for me.
Yeah. Play one of, Karan is asking this question from the Discord. Play one of Anderson, Porro or Rodon?
I mean, Anderson made that decision. Anderson.
Yeah. Just because of DEFCON potential as well. Would you throw in a Kimpong in the list of 4.0 defenders?
No, because
Chelsea
Dawson
fan,
is
tell
fit.
us. Exactly. And Chelsea will buy.
We might not buy. That's what right now the journals are sort of feeding into it. We actually might not buy, but it all depends how badly the next two games go.
Yeah. Is whoever at Wolves a viable choice? No, they just bought a wing back. You have to wait.
And they'll be
Okay,
buying
good
more.
question. This is a very interesting question. Bowen replacement. If you're selling a West Ham striker right now, which of the 7.5 million or below would you go today?
Mateta,
So I think who's in consideration? Evan Nielsen, Mateta, and Strand Larsen.
GSL also, I'll be slightly put off by these transfer rumors. I'd like to give that a couple of weeks because there's no worry about Bowen's minutes at least, right?
So Mateta or who
Evan
else?
Nielsen,
Evan
I like.
Nielsen. Yeah, one of those two, I reckon. I think you go for one of those two.
Or if you fancy
What happens with
getting
Eze going to Spurs is also Mateta gets 100% pen share. That's pretty significant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wood's also not a bad shot, man. But yeah, let's wrap up.
All right, cool. That's it for today, guys. And we will be having videos almost every day until the Game Week 2 deadline. I'm not sure about the deadline stream, by the way, Zoph. I might have a few people over at home. So we'll talk about that. Just wanted to get that out. And thank you, guys. And let us know if you have any questions. We'll try answering them in the comments on this channel as well. And see you next week. Stay calm.
Stay calm and carry on. We'll see you next week.